Hey guys, I'm Usman and I studied engineering at University of Oxford and at the University of Birmingham. And today I'm going to teach you how to get into any university that you like in the UK.
Why aren't you all copying this down?
We're going to get to a point where things aren't so simple anymore and you aren't just doing 2 plus 2 is 4. Algebra starts getting thrown in, and before you know it, you're doing some crazy level calculus which makes you cry at night. If you're lucky, your school may throw some extra intervention classes, but that's not usually the case. Now, to successfully pass this level, you need to ensure that you get yourself an amazing tutor. And this can be quite hard to find, but usually parents with good networks will generally know other parents who've been through the system and they've got the top grades, and they will generally be able to recommend the top tutors. And this kind of becomes a vicious cycle where it's a cycle of elite tutors for elite parents, and it kind of becomes locked off for the rest of the community and society at large. If you're struggling to pass this level, well, I guess you just got to get your parents to go around and sell their souls a little bit and network around with other top parents to really get to know the best tutors. So you're still quite young, you've got yourself a tutor, you've successfully navigated that level, and you're well on track to do well at your examination for 11 plus, 13 plus in the UK. So what you can do to really game this system, and people have done this many times and continue to do so, is get your child to be on free school meals for 1 month of the year. Whilst this tool was initially meant to level the playing field, a lot of parents have obviously been gaming the system by going unemployed, especially if it's their own business. They'll show that they are unemployed for a month and thus their child can be on free school meals, or even just taking temporary leave from work and going unpaid and going onto free school meals. It allows the school system to falsely flag the parents and students as underprivileged and poor. If you're really trying to get your child into a selective school, make sure you've got this perk added onto your armor. Level 3. So depending on where you're going, things start to get a bit more interesting. So if you've successfully passed level 1 and 2, you should generally now be at a selective or a private school. This will automatically give you lots of extra support, intervention classes, and specialist support and advice on what types of subjects to choose. Now, your parents may also be clued up with the education system and they can also guide you on level 3. This knowledge gap is doing is that it's culling the masses in year 9, in year 10, when students aren't even aware that these choices are going to impact them in the long run.
Hey, that was a cakewalk.
Level 4. If your parents have got good connections at a top company, then that's easy work experience for you. The amount of times I've seen top executives bring in their child for work experience, even for 1 week, 2 weeks at a top firm, is quite long. If your dad's a taxi driver, well, yeah. We could classify this level as nepotism. Really, if you've got those network of exposure to different fields, then you are well set up in this world. Level 5.
Knowledge.
By the time you're 15, 16, hopefully the compounding effect of the knowledge gap that you've been building up over time is adding up between you and other students. Two students who were probably equal when they were younger, next to each other now when you're 15, 16, the difference will be clear. Ceteris paribus, Latin for all else being equal. Great for you because this knowledge gap could take them years to grow back.
Time. Endless looped time.
As always, we don't just want to do better than them, we want to obliterate them. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your parents to shell out some extra money that will allow you for some specific tests. Now, these tests allow you as much as 25% extra time in an examination setting. And if you guys have ever done tests before, you know 25% is a significant advantage. Many students do not get this opportunity because their schools do not allow for this testing to happen. So whether you get 25% extra on your examination is down to how much your parents can pay. Looks like this is something we can gain. Sometimes this timing is not only limited to the exams, it's also extended to interviews and other tests. Great, right? Okay, level 7. We're not done with gaming the system yet, my friends. How about you do this? You get your parents to withdraw you from your fancy selective and private school and enter you into one of the worst schools in the country that is possible. Now you're thinking, I thought this was all about gaming the system. Why are you trying to get us to fail? Once you understand the education system and look ahead to the latter levels, you will realize that attending a poor school just for your GCSE years is an excellent advantage to have. This gives the look that the child attended a very bad school and achieved amazing grades. In reality, those amazing grades were the product of private school education that child may have had for 3, 4, or even in some cases 10 years if you count it from primary school level. Fantastic. Now, choosing a really bad sixth form. Again, this adds up to the university applications, and they look at how bad of a school you went to for your sixth form as well as your GCSEs. So if you went to a terrible secondary school and a terrible sixth form, then you are in A1 condition to get the top offers. At this point, you might be dicing with danger quite a lot because you've been attending state school for maybe 3 to 4 years, and this needs to be rectified. So what is our contingency plan? Well, of course, you go get yourself top quality education consultants, which you've already mastered doing so from a very early age. So these education consultants and tutors will teach you the top quality content that you would have got taught at a private school. Level 8. UCAS applications. These are university applications that you make in the UK. Now, before you apply, it's very important that your parents move into a very shabby and very poor neighborhood. No. Neighborhoods are ranked according to the wealth status across the country. So universities look at which neighborhood you're living in, what's your postcode, and how do students tend to achieve grades in those neighborhoods. What is the normal median income across that neighborhood? So of course, your parents are going to move in to that terrible neighborhood. Oh, here's a good one. Maybe don't even move in. Just get your parents to buy a second or a third or a fifth house in that neighborhood, which you can put down as your main address. So now it looks like you go to a terrible school, you went to a terrible sixth form, and you live in a terrible area. But we know all of this is a facade, and none of those impact your education detrimentally. Level 9, top university application tests. So this is stuff like UCAT, BMAT, the TSA, and other similar tests.
So this quagmire can be solved with the use of online websites and consultants which can guide you on the questions and the techniques needed for passing the tests.
Level 10. Now that you've been attending a poor school, you've done really well in your education, and of course you live in a poor area, you're going to get some interview offers under the contextual bracket, which means you're pretty much guaranteed an interview if you've been doing well in your subjects. Birmingham University has the A to B scheme, Cambridge has the SAQ, Oxford has a huge rating on the contextual application of students. Sure, other people might scoff at you for gaming the system like this, but who cares? Blame the game, not the player, right? But what about others who are playing this level? What about the state school students? Well, I attended state school, a very poor one at that, and I had a 20-minute interview with my principal to prepare for an Oxford interview. Level 11. At this stage, you've got an interview, you know what you're doing, your consultants are going to tell you exactly what to do, they'll tell you the exact questions potentially that could come up, and you're going to ace this because, let's face it, you worked so hard for this. Gaming the system isn't easy work. And finally, once you've done this, you go and ace your A-levels. And Bob's your uncle, and you've got an offer from Oxford or Cambridge. Nani? And that's the boss level that you finally get to beat. Ace your exams with education consultants and tutors. That's it. That's your step-by-step process on how to get into Oxford or Cambridge. That's it for now. Thank you and bye. Yeah, this ain't it, guys. I'm not trying to demonize wealthy individuals or parents with privileges to help their children get into the top institutions, because often these students do deserve their places at top institutions. But the problem here is that the system is extremely flawed. Then the flaw in the system is that it's forming a cocoon around itself amongst the top institutions where only the top students generally tend to get in. So it's not an opportunity that's free to everyone to enter. Not everyone can get to the top. For the working class, it's simply not fair. Now imagine an extremely bright individual in a poor state school who may never get the opportunity to show his or her true potential in breaking the field of mathematics or finding the cure for the most rarest forms of cancer. You know, we are losing out on a generation of potential talent across the schools. Now, clearly, this is a complex problem, multifaceted with many levels that you need to master to be able to break this down. I'm going to look at some solutions here, which are just my back of the envelope thoughts on the matter. One of the best ways we can address this is having interventions and extra support available in state schools. Now, this could be with external consultants and tutors, or it could be with the tutors currently available at those schools and making sure that they get paid adequately to cover these sessions. These interventions should really be made from a young age, because as time goes on, this compounding effect becomes very difficult to reverse at a later age. Obviously, from a government's point of view, this means adding extra budget to the education system. Now, one of the things that we identified was the information gap. The way we can rectify this is by having universities and colleges making all of the information about their application open source and not secretive. By making the interview process open source, it gives everyone a fair shot at achieving their ambitions. Platforms such as this and other social media platforms have been in the past few years allowing for transparency and allowing the students to have a more level playing field. YouTubers such as Ibsmo have allowed for the democratization of such knowledge and processes to be made publicly available to everyone. And that's my aim with this channel too, to really ensure that education, top quality education, is available to all. Now, a really cool idea I think that the universities can implement at a fraction of a price of pretty much any other measure that they take is forming a parent-child relationship. Background to this. So Oxford and Cambridge already have this system where if you're a entrant in year 1, you will normally have a parent from year 2, meaning another student who's on the same course and in the same college as you, and they will usually guide you through the whole journey that you have at the university. I would like to see this same concept extended to state schools across the UK. So where you've got a state school that's relatively poor, they've got assigned several parents from the top universities like Cambridge and Oxford. And if this is the case, they can democratize all of that knowledge very easily to the school, really make the process simple and easy to understand for all the students. Because at the moment, the universities aren't really testing who's the brightest. What they're really testing is who knows our process the best and who can circumnavigate it really easily. Now, I know universities have schemes for the less privileged, and you may say, hey, they've got these schemes, why are you moaning? Well, as we know, they don't always end up helping those that it intends to help. And I'm trying to do my part here by making this information available to you guys on this YouTube channel and my newsletter, which I send out weekly, which has lots of information which is not readily available to state school students. Be sure to subscribe, sign up to the newsletter, and send me your thoughts about how we can change this system. I really want education to be accessible to everyone, not some elitist institution which only the elite and the wealthy and the privileged can access. A quick disclaimer here. It isn't impossible to get into the top universities. I came from a very poor background. For the first 10 years of my life, I wasn't even in this country and English wasn't my first language. I lived in a council house, I lived in a hostel, and my parents could never afford tuition. Yet I managed to find my way into Oxford. I managed to start my own business. I managed to work at one of the top companies in the world. I'm genuinely so thankful to the education system in the UK because it has given me a lot of meaning and it has given me a lot of purpose and understanding of different things around the world and understanding myself better. The point of the video was that for every me that existed in my school, which was Washwood Heath, there were many others who just never even got GCSE qualifications. And this is why I would like you guys to help me change, to try and improve the system and not settle for second best, because one or two of us can make it out of the hood, make it out of the ghetto. Everything is impossible until it's done. That is a quote from Nelson Mandela. And I'd like to leave you with that as the concluding thoughts.